Hey, Clinton. Please tell me you can hear me tonight. Good evening, George. Can you guys hear me okay? Good deal. Maybe I've got this figured out some. I doubt it. Been working on a few settings, trying to work on overlays. That's something I've never experienced. But maybe I'll figure it out sooner or later. I don't know. Trying it anyway. I did figure out how to get all my cameras working. The train cam is charging because I forgot to charge that last night, so I don't have the cam on. But I did change up the cars today. If you see, I'm running my well cars on the CSX Western Maryland. And a couple of those cars I 3D printed. Yay me. And I got my Fred on there. And we can even do let's put this over here and we'll shrink it down just a hair because who needs to see me? There we go. See if that pops up on stream or not. I'm trying to go a little bit less on the latency to see if that works better. I don't know if it is or not. So you'll have to bear with me and let me know if it's working. Yep. So it looks like my latency issue has been mostly resolved. It's pretty close now, which I like. Can you guys figure out which one of the cars I 3D printed? It should be pretty obvious. At least to me, it's obvious. I don't know. Thanks, George. I appreciate the feedback. C, all the above? Or is that D, all the above? Yeah. So if you look as this train comes by, the Western Maryland, you'll see the gray car, and the pink car, or the pink container and the gray containers. I printed all three of those. I did go on Intermountain and order some more containers though, because I bought some containers and didn't realize that I needed 48-foot containers and not 50-some foot containers, and they won't fit. So I had to order some new ones. Yes, George, filament. Yeah, I don't have a resin printer. I just have a FPM, or what are we going to call it, a filament. I actually have a Bamboo Labs P1S. It has the enclosure and the automatic spool, so I can put 4 colors on there and it'll print between the 4 colors that I tell it to print. That's how I did the one cars. I printed it in pink and white PLA, and it came out pretty good. I mean, obviously anything that's made by manufacturer with injection molding will probably look a lot better, but that's really not a bad car. And on camera, other than the wrong pink, it looks pretty good. So yeah, so just that, yeah, that's what I was saying, George. You, when it's going by you, you really can't tell. Here, I'll slow it way down for you here. It's a little unprototypical braking. Poor engineer just went through the windshield. But yeah, I'll stop it right here in the screen. And it's not a bad looking car. The gray ones really came out good, which is nice. But I tell you, the thing that really gets me the most is I overpaid for those container car that I bought. That's a 5-pack. I should have waited on a better deal. Got Clinton to go to Lombard's for me and get me a better price on them. Didn't get home till 3:30. Oh my God. Oh no. Oh, he was on Spirit. Oh no, that's horrible. That is such a thing, man. I couldn't even believe that happened. I mean, that is just crazy. And 3:34 in the morning, man, I tell you what, you were just getting home and I was getting out of bed to go to work. Little So I think I've kind of settled on something, gentlemen, and let me see what you think of this. So I'll let you weigh in. Well, actually, George, the filament I used was a PLA silk pink. So that's why it's so shiny. Now, I didn't have the regular matte pink, which would have probably looked a lot better, but I just didn't have that one. So when I decided to print it out of a test just to see how things would look, I just printed with the PLA silk that I had. I do need to go to my local micro center and pick up some more filament. They have a whole lot of selection, and if I ever have a problem, they're right there to fix it and give me a new spool. Went to the airport yesterday, went morning, came home. Had to wait all day and ended up getting on the United flight. Well, yeah, I heard that a lot of the other airlines were helping people out because they kind of got screwed. I don't know what's going to happen with that, if they're going to be able to last ditch effort, sell it, do something. I'm kind of curious. But so here's my idea. So on my CSX 3194 Spirit of Law Enforcement, as you will see when it comes around the mountain here, I'll speed it up just a hair to get it here. I have an idea. And you guys can tell me how far-fetched or how stupid I am, and I'll accept that. So my idea is to take this locomotive right here that you can see. If I can stop it in time, let's back it up just a hair. Okay. So my idea yeah, WM photobomb, no kidding. So my idea is to actually go and I'm going to probably end up buying the ESU lock sound programmer and trying to put a siren as a secondary horn on this locomotive to match the red and blue lights that flash when you hit the horn. I think it would be kind of a novelty thing to do. My understanding is the original locomotive from CSX 3194 did in fact have a siren for its photo op. Then they took it off and put the regular stuff back on it. Are the flags right on the ST? The Western Maryland, is that what you're asking about? Oh, the scale trains. Yeah, I believe they are all correct on scales. Yeah, the police one. Yep. Yeah, as far as I know, I've not done the rivet counter thing to see if it's all proper, but it looks right to me from some of the photos that I've seen. Again, I didn't take a microscope to it to find out, but it looks pretty good. That one was definitely a novelty item to buy. Yeah, George, it seems like there's an awful lot to it. Now, I reached out and I talked to a guy that I could have do it, and it didn't seem too horrible bad to me. But the thing was that kind of scared me a little bit was I had to send my entire locomotive across the country for this guy to get the locomotive, program the sound, and do all that, and then ship it back to me. Now, I had to pay shipping out and back, and then $75 an hour for labor. And he estimated 2, possibly 3 hours. I wasn't worried about the labor cost as much as I was just the shipping this thing out and back. It always freaks me out. So by the time I pay shipping outbound and back and 3 hours labor, I was looking at it and thinking, well, hell, I'm right in the ballpark of, well, actually, I'm way over the price of an ESU lock sound programmer. A programmer I can pick up for about $130. Well, that's less than 2 hours of labor, in my opinion. Maybe I'm mistaken. Maybe I'm just being cheap. But anything I can save towards, not doing that stuff, I can apply towards other things. I actually took a bunch of stuff that I had purchased from my local hobby shop back because I wasn't ever going to use it. And now I have a balance of store credit. I just had to keep it as store credit just because that way whenever I want something, I just walk in and get it. So that was just something fun to do with that. You can see me. Not that anybody really wants to see that, but this is me. And all my unglory. Woohoo! Should angle this down just a tick. There we go. A little better. Looks like the stream is doing pretty good. Looks like all the stats are showing it to be pretty solid. Stream health is excellent, it says. Well, that's good. I actually feel a little bit better about tonight's stream just because I did so much work on the back end, getting everything reset back up, making sure that all the camera angles were okay, they were working. I think I would need to adjust some few things, just out of curiosity of doing it all. What do you think about that overhead view, that bottom left, George and Clinton? What do you think? Is that overhead view okay? Do you like it? Do you not like it? Would you rather be track side, a little further down, a little further up? Kind of liking this. This is working out pretty well, I think. Got so much scenery to do, though. That's one of my big things I've got to do. But with the weather getting warm and not so winter here anymore, I'll probably be outside more doing things. My secondary hobby is playing with my car. But I really like the idea that I can sit here in the evenings when it's dark and just enjoy playing with the trains, talking to you fellas. Let's see. Yeah. Yeah, looking good. I like it. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't have a project car per se. I mean, I have a project car, but it's not like I drive it every day. So it's not a really cool classic car. Let me try something. All right, just turn the lights up a little bit. But you're right, I do think I need a light right there by each one. Yeah, I think definitely a light, some sort of stick light or something to help with that. Okay, good call. Yeah, that's a good call. Oh, George, my car is it's a Ford Explorer ST, twin turbo, 3 liter, 400 horsepower. But I got a couple things sitting in boxes to get put on it. A new intercooler, a new air intake. I did an exhaust on it a little bit ago. And I got to put some new suspension components on it, some better brakes and rotors, and a tune. Once I get all the other stuff put on there, I get the tune done, I should be closer to 500 horsepower on a twin turbo 300 or 3 liter. No, I agree, Clinton. Yeah, absolutely. I definitely need more light. When you're sitting here looking up at it and you see it from this angle, you don't see the shadows that the camera shows. Well, what you got, George? yeah, I'll have to find some. I'll have to do some perusing on the old Amazons for some additional lighting. In fact, I'll look there right now while we're sitting here. I had a Crown Vic for a while, Clinton. I had a 1996 Crown Victoria with the handling and performance package. That was a nice car. It was fun to drive. It was a nice car. Unfortunately, I just got to a point where it needed a lot more things that I wanted to continue doing to it. It was having some electrical gremlins, and I just didn't want to deal with it, so I offloaded it and moved on. Oh, 66 Merc pickup. Oh, okay. I don't know anything about the Rooster, but I know the Merc pickups. Oh, that's got to be a pretty one. I don't care if it's rusted. I'd still think it was pretty. Oh, the Panther platform is just amazing. Yeah, I mean, you full frame, big, beautiful cars, ride wonderfully, lots of power. I mean, even with the 4.6 in them, you know, it was a good car, solid runners. I do miss my Vic, but I will say with my Explorer, having way more horsepower and all-wheel drive is kind of nice. Let's see, I gotta find some sort of mini lights. I don't know. These aren't bad. Got any recommendations? Oh, I mean, come on, George. You just, something about those old trucks and cars were just, you know, I love them. I love them. You know, like the old Ford Fairlane Galaxy 500s. Oh, something about those were just gorgeous. I mean, I don't know what it was about them, but they just really could set you off and make you just go, "Ooh, so nice." That one's 3 inches by 1.2. That's not a bad one. I could probably dim that one down. Yeah, that's not bad. I found a couple lights, Clinton. Well, you know, I can't show you, Clinton, but I mean, what I got for cameras, the fact that they were like $15 a piece, and they work really well. They're USB 2.0, plug and play. Nothing really you have to do crazy to make them work and do what you need to do. But I mean, yeah, you could pick up probably a webcam. I mean, those seem to work out fine. I mean, I have one right here. That's not a bad one. The camera that is elevated, that's pointing down at the tracks, that one is an autofocus version. That's an Arducam. That was like $35. It's autofocus and all that. The other 3 cameras here, they are iNomaker, and they're like $14 a piece. I 3D printed the cases for them, so a few dollars in materials, and I had, you know, 3 additional cameras. Yeah, the lighting, I got to work on my lighting. I see that now. So I'll have to pick up some lighting and throw up there. Range Rover doesn't look much different than our dog. No, no, Range Rover, I don't know what they're doing with that. They've sure changed hands a few times, and I'm not even sure who owns them anymore. Last I think it was an Indian company, but I'm not even sure. They keep changing hands like crazy. See, now that you've told me I need to get lighting on there, Clinton, I keep looking at it and going, oh yeah, that's really dark right there. Oh yeah, that's really dark right there. All right. I'll get some lighting. How fast can I get this lighting from Amazon? I can have it tomorrow. Let's see, I probably need 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, probably 4. I don't know how well these ones would work. They seem pretty small, so that might be good. As long as they're dimmable, it would be okay. Because I think sitting that close to anything at full brightness, it would just wash them out. Get in your Chevy with a great 6.2. Nothing wrong with that. I mean, you know. Yeah, I don't know. I gotta do some more research on these lights. I mean, there are so many of them out here. Goodness gracious. I just don't know if they're dimmable. I gotta think they probably are. Just more things I gotta plug in. It gets to be a bit much with all the things I gotta plug in now. 4 cameras, 5 cameras, plus now lighting, plus everything else, and a microphone, a keyboard, a mouse. I think I'm spending more time plugging things in. Yeah, the 6.2s are having a bit of an issue. Chevy transmissions were having a bit of an issue for a while there. Ford's had more recalls in the last year than they've had in like 20 years. Dodge has constantly got issues, it seems, with their stuff. It's so hard anymore. They just want to pump out these cars and not pump out a good product. It's all about getting it to market and trying to fix it later. Yeah, that's what I'm looking at, Clinton, is just some real small lighting that I found on Amazon. They're little small pods that you can just set up in the corner to help light up everything as it comes through. That way you're not seeing the darkness as it goes around the corner there. It'll highlight the sides of the car so you can see them better. But I definitely can see what you mean about the shadows. Like I said, if you're on my side of it looking at it, because of the cove lighting that I've designed in here and I have with the cob strips, I mean on this side viewing, it's beautiful. It's all lit up. The colors look great. I mean, I guess I could move the cameras to a different location, maybe outbound, so they go by and you see the scenery behind them. Oh, that's an idea. I should do that. Yeah, that's what I should do. I don't know. I mean, I look at some of the steps that these big auto manufacturers have made that didn't make any sense, and they did the same thing before, and then they have to course correct. You know, Ford dropping most of their passenger cars for SUVs, and they got rid of the Escape because they want to push the Bronco, and people love the Escape, hate the Bronco. well, they don't really hate, but they're not buying it like they were. Edison bulbs. I know your affinity for the Edison bulbs, mister. I know what you're talking about. You love those Edison bulbs. But I look at what they've done. I mean, getting rid of smaller passenger cars. Ford did away with the Focus and all the other stuff because they want to push SUVs. And then what happened last time they did the same thing? Gas prices went through the roof, and then they had to bring out the smaller vehicles to get better gas mileage. So it's almost like they played by the same book constantly. Let's do this. Oh, gas prices are high. Let's bring out the economy cars again. Right now they're getting their butts kicked by Kia and Honda and Toyota. And what's the answer? I mean, $5 a gallon. I mean, it is what it is, and I pay the price, for having a performance vehicle. I knew that going in, that if gas prices went up, I'd be, on the hook for the gas tax. But luckily, I don't live in California, so I'm not paying, $9 a gallon for gas. I'm, Midwest, where I only pay like $4 something. And actually, I was able to get $1 off a gallon of gas the other day when I filled up my tank, so I only spent $57 to fill my tank. Not too bad. Could have been worse if it was more. But you pay to play. It's like anything. A man and a boy, what's the difference? The cost of their toys. When I was a boy, I had little trains. Now that I'm a man, I have big, expensive trains. Not the most expensive trains, but they're expensive enough. They get the job done. So not too shabby. $3.50 for diesel is expensive because it's a diesel, not a steam, and that has to have much more detail. Yeah, I agree. I think that some of the prices are a little higher than they should be, but again, we're also getting slapped with tariffs because all of our locomotives are probably being made in China or one of those countries where the tariffs are being, directly impacted. So we're not getting the hobby exemption that we used to get either. So even we don't pay the most expensive tariffs, but we don't get a good lower rate. Maybe if these manufacturers would make their things in the country, that'd be helpful. Like if they were made in Canada, we wouldn't pay as much in tariff. But since they're made in China, we pay more, so the price has gone through the roof. I don't know how I feel. I mean, like I said, I after talking last night to you guys, I did spend about 30 minutes online looking at steam engines and going, oh, that's a nice one. Oh, that's a nice one. So I don't know. I'm assuming here soon I'll probably end up with a steam locomotive on this train. But if I get one, I'm going to have to go buy a bunch of old-fashioned style cars to go with it. Well, no. So the difference there, Clint, is that there are still tariffs. There's been tariffs in place. What they did away with was the certain super elevated type of tariff. So anything coming from China, there are still tariffs on. They're not at the 25% anymore, but there are still tariffs because it's coming from Asia. Now you pay less tariff and stuff if it's Canadian made, because we have agreements with them. But if anything coming from China, you will definitely pay more for. What's a heritage strain? You talking about my CSX heritage strain? My Western Maryland? I'm confused. Yeah, okay. Valid point. Valid point. It could be a heritage strain. I think it'd definitely be something I'd run more. I think probably going to go along the lines. What I was thinking was I'll just get if I get a steam locomotive, I'll just get some passenger cars, hook it up and run it as an excursion around, versus hauling any kind of freight or doing anything like that, because that's what I've got the diesels for. Yeah, passenger cars I'm not opposed to getting. I've got 2 wheeling in Lake Erie right now. I could definitely get some other ones. I think if I get a steam train, though, it's going to have to be undecorated, as far as, like, I don't really know that I want to have it any particular road name on it, unless it was B&O. I have an affinity for B&O. I think B&O was gone by the time I was really into trains. I mean, at that point, it was chassis systems and stuff like that. I remember seeing the kitty cat, all the time when I was a kid. Of course, we'd always watch the trains, and we'd always, take bets on what was the color of the caboose coming through. We didn't know any better that it was probably going to be certain colors. We just assumed it'd be one of anything in the Crayola box. And somebody would always be like, purple, it's going to be purple. Well, it was never purple, at least not around here. I looked at some of the new release from BLI, their passenger cars that they've got. They've got a 4-car set, which looks really nice. Oh, that took a while to come through. Yay, that worked. Hey, Mike. Morning. Thanks for stopping in. This more of an impromptu stream. I wasn't really anticipating streaming. I was going to do a quick stream just to test a few things and make sure that the stuff was working. And then here I sit. People showed up, and I'm like, oh, let me just chat to everybody. See how everyone's doing. How are you doing tonight, Mike? Or today? It's definitely morning for you and evening for the rest of us. Well, for me and Clinton, anyway. I think Clinton's actually an hour behind me. I'll give you a little toot toot. Smoke break. Smoke him if you got him. Bum him if you don't. Yeah, I knew you were about an hour behind me, because you're closer to Chi-Town, which puts you definitely an hour behind me. B&O Aro Railroad Museum track from the 80 back in the 20s. Yeah. We used to have the B&O used to run through this area, and now it's all CSX, and it's the CSX Newcastle division. Rockford Files. 2 o'clock? Woo! That's early in the morning, brother. That is way early in the morning. Why are you out of bed at that early? Oof! I still be sleeping. I am Eastern time, so that makes it a little after 9 o'clock here for me, which is pretty cool. Pretty cool. 2 in the morning. Goodness gracious. I don't know how I feel about that. There we go. We'll get the CSX chugging. That'd be pretty cool. I mean, that kind of layout would be pretty extensive. I kind of, I cheated. If you think about it, I had a photorealistic background printed, and all I had to do was put it up. So that wasn't too bad. And then I had the train station that's in town down the road from me. That's the old B&O station. I had that printed on there, which you can see in the top right camera in the distance there. That's actually what they call the puffer belly, and it's an old B&O station that was in the town down the road, about 2 towns over from me. I gotta admit, that Western Maryland is a good looking train. And I will be, one of the things reason I put those well cars on there is because I had such problem with them before with the Bachman track. They kept derailing the one car, and so I put them on there and thought, well, let me try it out again and see how things go. And I haven't had a single hiccup yet. So that's a testament to Unitrack for sure. Kato is definitely the way to go for me. Atlantic time in Nova Scotia. Oh my. Yeah, it's much later. It's yeah. I think that makes it Atlantic time. That's an hour ahead of me, so I'd probably put you at 10 o'clock, right, George? If you're back from your smoke break. I'm just sitting here writing up a list of all the things I need to do, all the parts I need to get still. How much more work I have ahead of me to get this done. At least to a point where I feel like it's worthy of being shown on camera right now with it in the infancy of it just isn't ready yet. Need to ballast the tracks, put in some landscaping, some grass along the edges there. You know, make it feel like, you know, it's real. But it looks good. I like the trees, the background, it looks good. Especially on camera, it looks pretty good. I guess I have to keep reminding myself that I just started this back in, you know, model railroading. I started back in November, December. I think I did the background in February. Is when I got that, I think. I'm pretty sure it was February that I got the background. And then, you know, redid the tracks because I only had a single track up there with Bachmann. And now I have the dual track Staccato. Oh, yeah, I mean, I tell you, it gets quick to get overwhelmed. You know, and like I was saying, just, you know, a second ago, it was like, you know, I kind of think I'm more hard on myself because I want to get this done, but I realized that I haven't been doing this very long. I mean, yeah, I mean, I guess you could look at it like that. You know, I've got trains running, and that's a good thing. But there's a lot of things I want to get done still. You know, I want to get ballasting done. I want to put in, you know, grass and features and things like that to make it actually look and feel like it's a mainline run. Yeah, it just takes time. You know, that's the thing is, you know, I try to rush it and then I end up screwing things up. I think if I would have actually sat down and thought about it more going into this, I probably would have settled on a two-track main before just throwing up, you know, track just to get it done. I also should have done a bit more research on track, and I would have realized that maybe I should have went with the Unitrack versus the Bachmann. Hi, George. Welcome back. Yeah, there was a lot of mistakes I've made along the way. So I guess that's one way to look at it is I've made a fair share of mistakes, but I've learned an awful lot, which is kind of one of the things I really like is I've learned so much. I mean, before this, I didn't know all this stuff. I didn't know how to use an Arduino. I didn't know how to automate things, and definitely didn't know how to stream to YouTube. Set up cameras, build lighting, build shelving. Hell, I didn't even know, and I don't really know. And let me just say, I really don't know how to do crown molding, but I did some. That is a thing that I did when I built this shelving. There's crown molding under it. You can't see it real well because it's hidden, but it is under the shelf. There is crown molding. So that is one thing that I've learned to do. So in a short period of time, I guess, you know, I'm blessed to be able to do it and learn. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. I don't know how to take that. The truth is streaming trains have almost nothing to do with trains. I mean, George, I think that when I do a more traditional layout, where I have vast real estate to work with, that's, you know, flat, and I'm not on a ladder working on it and trying to do it, I will probably use FlexTrack because of the ability to run it how I want to. And with most of the pre-made track, you're limited to their curves, to their length. And I want to go into where I can do easing into curves, and I can put odd little curves, make it look like the tracks were built around. Let's say there was a gully that we needed to build around, and I can curve it slightly around that gully and put a girder bridge in or something like that, or just a simple bridge. That's where I think Flex Track will really come in handy, and I really want to try to use it. But on a basic layout like this, where you're just going around four walls and it's just 90-degree turns, and you're on a ladder trying to do Flex Track was just more than I was willing to do. I didn't want to have to put up scaffolding to walk around just to put up track and hold it down and do all that. Custom Kato curve. How do you get a custom curve? I mean, my understanding is Kato only comes in certain degrees. Do they offer a flex section that I'm not aware of? My layout would be a royal pain to do your way. If you're doing with Flex Track, yeah, George, it would be. Like I said, if I was able to stand on the ground and be, just stand there and work on it, or pull up a chair and, do what I need to do, I wouldn't mind using Flex. But it was, I didn't have the skill level for it, and on a ladder I wasn't willing to learn. Maybe somewhere down the road that is definitely something I want to look at. Especially at the cost of Flex Track being vastly cheaper. I think you can pay, like the local hobby shop, I can get 5 sections of Flex Track in a box for like $26 or something like that. So that's pretty good. I mean, you're talking what, 15 feet. So that's not too bad. I mean, it'd definitely be cheaper than what I paid for 90 some feet of Kato. But I do like the fact that Kato was so easy to use. Snap it along, add some feeders, and just basically wire it up, and I could run trains. So that wasn't so bad after all. Okay, Clinton. Again, you have far more knowledge on it than I do, brother. Appreciate you, describing that for me. It makes more sense now. I would like to do I want to do a double crossover. I don't know why I just want to put a double crossover in. I think that would look really cool to be able to just have a train come down and switch sides. I think that would look pretty sweet. That's probably something I'm going to do on a more traditional layout, because I'll be able to put some sidings in, put in some industries, do some really cool things with that, run trains in a manner that's more befitting of what they are versus just this continuous loop. And it looks cool, but I'd like to be able to run them more traditional, if that makes any sense. But then I have to also figure out how to do all the switches and all the crossovers and all the turnouts and all that stuff to accommodate in with DCC. So that's a whole nother thing I've got to learn. It's amazing what a model railroader really has to learn. in order to enjoy your hobby. Oh, there's nothing wrong with code 100. I mean, that is the upside, George. Yeah, you can run anything. A lot of the old, tall flanges, you could run those without a problem. You never had to worry about that. Yeah, I did see some videos on that. Doing a transition from Kato to Flex. There's just some adapters you have to do. And then you have to watch on the Flex track because some of it's code 100, but Kato is code 83. It's definitely a little on the thinner side and taller, shorter profile. I've toyed with the idea of cutting a portion of the shelving out and making a large gap and putting in a span for a bridge, because I think that would look really nice on this layout as having some sort of bridge. But I haven't figured out if I want to go with an arch, a truss, a girder, something. But I definitely want to, the other thing I want to do is on a more traditional layout is I want to have a much larger radius of curve. Right now I'm on a 22 and 24 radius. I'd like to go something more along the lines of 28 and larger radius, so that even the longest auto racks or other cars would transition more smoothly and look more realistic versus what they are now. They look good, but there are times where it looks the overhang's a little much. And I would definitely see that exaggerated overhang on any kind of thing that would require, especially on like an auto rack. Oh, perfect, Clinton. Thank you. I'll look and see if it's in the Discord. I don't have the Discord up right now, but I'll look it up when I get off. Oh, well, that's nice to know, Drew. I did not know that. That would definitely save time if you can just bounce from 100 to 85 or 83. That'd be kind of nice, where you just put a little piece in and move on with your day. I mean, with all this wonderful technology we have and everything else, why did it take so long? Well, I just found out about it today, so you're much more ahead of me than I am. But I'm still glad I went with the Kato track. I have no regrets about doing that. I have regrets about using the Bachmann track initially, but that's just because even though it was flat and true, and I would still experience derailments, which didn't make any sense to me. But since going to this, I don't have any. I did see somebody, I watched a video on how to cut the Kato track and rejoin it back together and make it work. It was kind of a slick deal. So that was kind of neat to get custom lengths. I kind of like that because I didn't really like the adjustable length Kato piece that they had. And after I watched that video, it kind of all clicked into place, and I was like, oh, I could do that if I wanted to, and that would actually work. So that was pretty neat. Watching these videos and learning is kind of what it's all about, I guess, for me. Trying to put the pieces together and figure it out. Getting there. a slow process for an old guy. Well, guys, I am going to have to wrap this up. I do have to go get ready to for work tomorrow. This is a school night, I guess is what you'd want to call it. I do have to go to work. And this was only supposed to be a little quick stream just to see how things were working. But, man, I appreciate you guys stopping in. Definitely plan on doing some more streams. I'm going to try to figure out a schedule to work. Friday nights don't work real well just because everybody and their brother is streaming that night. Sunday seems like a good one just because it doesn't seem like there's that many folks streaming, because Friday and Saturday nights seems like there's a lot. So we'll figure that out going forward. Try to figure a time that everybody's not taken up with, like, you know, Dave and Kevin and all them. And I'm trying not to step on anybody's toes. I don't want to make anybody feel like I'm impeding on anybody. I want to be a good steward, a good neighbor. So, but thanks for stopping in, guys. Again, thank you for all your support. Thanks for stopping in the videos, liking them. If you get a chance, you know, hit that like button for me. I really appreciate it. And take care, everybody. I'll see